Whew, sorry about that, guys. Sorry for the wait. You guys know I cannot get started until everything's situated, so I do apologize. I should have pushed back, but welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to everybody. We'll get started. And I'll make sure for those that are watching the replay, gang, I'll edit this out, which it was a late start. Donna Smith, thank you so much for this $3.99 super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Running around, y'all. It just wouldn't be a regular Sunday if it wasn't for me. And then the hair is crazy too, y'all. Thank you. Good morning. Get your coffee on. Get your coffee on. Okay. These people should not have been parents, you said. Thank you. Shout out to the Cali people in the chat. Yes. Thank you, guys. You are not late, my love. Shout out to you. And I'm so sorry I'm late. Okay. Let's get it together. I gotta catch my breath. Lord have mercy. I'm running around like crazy. Okay. So why don't we get started with this little piece of information? Okay. So even throughout the weekend, we've had some information kind of drop. One of the ones that dropped, I think it was this might have been Friday and we might have missed it. This piece right here that I was looking into this article, okay, because I was trying to find a source. I know that there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that talk about the information that they're getting, but I kind of like to know where the source is coming from. Like, where are we sourcing this information from, right? So this guy right here by the name of Brian Rocos, this guy right here, he's the one that did the interview with Law and Crime. And this reporter was the one who actually talked to Rebecca Haro initially in prison, and then did the interview later on with Jake Haro. Okay, so that is this is the press enterprise. This is their little news source. Okay, so this guy actually dropped this article on the 30th. Okay, which was yesterday. Two of the Turpin attorneys now defending Haro against charges they murmur their 7-month-old Emmanuel. Okay. And what was so interesting is because some of you guys in the comments were even letting me know, like, this is crazy. When I dropped the video yesterday, especially about Riverside and Chad Bianco, aka Yosemite Sam, there were some people that were feeling some type of way about that video. For one, a lot of people brought this case up. I'm familiar with the case, but not like at the deeper level. I know that these two parents, what was his name? What's his name? I have their names in my head. Why am I spacing out the names? Anyways, the Turpin parents, okay? These guys had their children locked up in Luis. Thank you. Luis and David. That's who their names are. Luis and David had their children locked up in like a house. It was like the House of Horrors. I know very minimal about the case. I know one of them ran out and basically called emergency services, and this is how people got involved. Very similar to Ruby Frankie in that situation. Like, there is a similarity between and maybe there might be some religious background behind this as well. So like I said, I'm not too familiar, but a lot of you guys from that area messaged me and it said, hey man, this happened in Riverside too. This happened in Moreno Valley. This happened in this area. And it's under the same judicial thing where it's like, there's Gabriel Hernandez, different area, but it's like these people, they're failing their kids and they're falling behind, and the system is not picking up this situation when they should have been. Yes, they were starved and tied to beds, right? So these attorneys who represented those two guys, okay, the parents, let me see if we can pull some pictures now. These guys right here, and the lady has some like very interesting, something about her eyes, man. It's like her eyes say everything, but nothing at the same time. It's almost like nothing's there. They have very distinct eyes. The attorneys that were representing them are now, looks like they've jumped into the Haro case, which I find to be interesting. The other thing too is that speaking of that video that I dropped yesterday, there were some people in there who voted for Chad Bianco or who are planning to vote for Chad Bianco. My video is not about a political video. I'm literally telling you what Chad Bianco has on his backgrounds on some of these civil cases. Who you vote for is your business and your prerogative. But I always find it interesting that people want to say, "Well, I've been following you for years, and I feel like you're attacking this." I'm not. If my bringing up the fact that somebody's been sued for X, Y, and Z, okay, and those are just allegations. Allegations aren't facts. They're going to go to court and find that out. If that like upsets you that I have exposed somebody who is your favorite politician, your favorite celebrity, your favorite guru, your favorite pastor, priest, nun, your favorites, leaders, whatever it may be, then I don't know what else to tell you. I'm going to continue to expose your favorites because that's what I do. Okay. I'm not telling you who to vote for. That's your prerogative. That's it. There's nothing else to it. So I that's what I do on this channel. And if you've been following me for a couple of years, you would know that actually. I don't co-sign to any political crap. I think that when we are so caught up on I'm voting for Chad Bianco in 2026 or 2026, whatever. I am, you're caught up in this thing where it's like, so you're saying that these people can never do anything wrong and they got a splendid record. That's great. But I'm talking about this case. You vote for whoever the hell you want to. I vote for Pedro. There you go, clearly, Shelly. Thank you. That being said, though, is crazy to me that we're caught up on that when we're talking about Emmanuel Haro in that case, okay? It's crazy to me that this is where we're at, okay? That people are caught up on that. Sorry about that, guys. Your channel isn't called Down the Rabbit Hole for no reason. What is wrong with people? Thank you. It's crazy though, but the info is out there to be reported. It is what it is. It's right. But people, like I said, I did get somebody in the comments who said this is all leftist propaganda and all this shit. I was like, well, damn. Okay. Whether it's the left or the right, none of these people do us any wrong. I mean, let's be very clear. Somebody who purports to want to be the governor, and I'm not saying the governor of California is the greatest right now, that's not at all. But if you're wanting to be a leader, aren't we looking at past leadership qualities that you had? Maybe if your prisons are called the deadliest prisons in the world or in the nation, maybe there's something off about the shit that you haven't done about your prison system. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with that. Maybe we can look at past behavior to indicate future behavior or leadership. I don't know. Just an idea. Like, stop it. So vote for whoever the hell you want to. My videos are not political. They just expose different things. Okay. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. All right. So these guys right here, they had their children locked up and tied in beds. And so there were these attorneys in the same area. That's why I'm saying, I'm like, why is it that this is a thing where people are locking children up, tying them up? And it wasn't just one or two children. I mean, they had a lot of children up there. Explain. Let me see if I can bring this up. I'm going to bring you guys a breakdown. Thank you. Let's see. So sometime in January of 2018, one of the kids, a 17-year-old girl, escaped the family home and called 911. Okay. And police entered the house and found 12 malnourished children. Some were shackled to beds with chains and padlocks. The children were between the ages of 2 and 29. So, like, some of these children were already adults, just so people are aware, and were living in filthy conditions. They were severely underfed, and they didn't have a whole lot of human interaction. Okay. It's been said that these children were beaten, starved, and denied medical care. All right. They were allowed to shower once a year. This is the severity of the abuse. They were fed once a day, often just bread and peanut butter. Okay. The parents basically acted like homeschooling, like they were doing like the homeschooling. They registered that, like they registered, this is the crazy part, they were registering their home like a daycare school, but they didn't really provide any real education. So they would say we are, homeschooling our kids. Now mind you, this is the same kind of area where Emmanuel Haro and all this is happening, right? This happened several years ago. The children's growth was definitely stunted. I mean, that's no surprise at all. And mom and dad, David and Louise Turpin, were arrested the same day their daughter escaped. Okay, so in 2019, they were both pled guilty to 14 felony counts, including child cruelty, false imprisonment, and torture. They were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Now, those attorneys are the attorneys for the Haros. This is that case. For those that were asking in the chat, can somebody explain the Turpin case? So two attorneys who defended the Riverside County couple who made the worldwide headlines after being accused of neglecting and abusing 12 of their 13 children are now heading up the defense of a different county couple who have received similar attention in a case in which the husband and wife are accused of killing their missing 7-month-old son. The attorneys for Cabezon residents Jake Haro, 32, and Rebecca Haro, 41, will be opposed by one of the district attorney's office top prosecutors. The Haros are due at the Riverside County Hall of Justice in Riverside on September 4th to enter pleas to charges of murder and filing a false police report. Emmanuel remained missing on Friday, August 29th. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department said Rebecca Haro told investigators that a man knocked her unconscious, as we know, and she changed Emmanuel's diaper and snatched the boy in the parking lot of the Big Five on August 14th. The couple pled for the boy's return during media interviews. Prosecutors say it was all a hoax, and they believe Emmanuel died from long-term abuse. Now, mind you, we don't have a body, so take that for what it's worth. It does kind of make you wonder, what is it that they have for evidence? What do they have? What are they sitting on? There's a lot of questions that we have. You said the Turpin documentary is good. I always say their name wrong, and I hope I'm saying it correctly. I got to look at that documentary. Right, Tony? That's kind of where I'm at. We got to find it. This was a Paris, California, I believe, next to Moreno Valley in the other side of the mountains in Cabezon. I don't know if it's like in the distance of the area or what exactly is going on, but this is not a new one for Cali, right? Where kids fall through the way cracks. I mean, people, they just do, right? But so many children, 13 kids overall, and nobody has like an idea. Like, I know y'all can homeschool. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes the homeschool education is better than the public and private sector of education, but it does make you wonder, if they registered a place, don't they have to get that checked out? Don't people go and, like, I know in some states, if you are homeschooling, there's a curriculum that you have to follow and stuff like that. The caseworker placed the younger children with a couple with previous SA complaints. It's horrible. It does happen. The kids went into foster care after where they were also. Really? I'm not at all surprised. At all. That is I've never seen the documentary, so definitely it's going to be a must watch. I'm going to look into it. And I was thinking about doing a deeper dive into this because I feel like I don't really know. I mean, other than just what the headlines say, I don't really know too much about the case in depth. Okay. House of Horrors on Hulu. I'll check it out. Thank you. Okay, so let's keep going. So the Haros are due. We know they're due in court on the 4th. Rebecca Haro told investigators. We know what she told them. Okay, and I quote, the parents of a 7-month-old baby who was allegedly kidnapped as his mom changed his nappy in the U.S. have been charged with the little boy's murder. The Sydney, Australian-based news.com AU website reported on Thursday. So again, this is like international news, okay? David and Louise Turpin of Paris received similar coverage of their case, which began with the filing of 88 charges each against them. Allison Lowell and David Mocker from the Riverside County Public Defender's Office represented David Turpin. and court-appointed attorney Jeff Moore from the law offices in Riverside represented Luis Turpin. So I got in my notes. Let me see what I wrote down. Paula, is it Paula or Paulette? I think it's Paulette. Paulette Garthwaite is Jake Haro's lawyer, and Lo Garthwaite is Jake Haro's lawyer. Jeff Moore is Rebecca Haro's lawyer. This is what I have in my notes. Okay. The Turpins each eventually pled guilty to 14 felony charges and were sentenced to 25 years to life in state prison in 2019. Lowe and Paulette Garthwaite, I think that's how you say that, are the last name, are heading Jake Haro's defense team. Moore is representing Rebecca Haro. All three have at least 20 years of trial experience. So they got 3 attorneys, 2 attorneys for Jake Haro and 1 for Rebecca. Rebecca's attorney is Jeff Moore. And I think they might all be from the same law firm, okay? Everybody, which is kind of weird because, let me correct myself. I don't know if that's the case. If this is, they're co-defendants, what's going to happen the day? I would assume it would have to be different law firms for Jake and Rebecca. What's going to happen if Rebecca turns on Jake or if Jake turns on Rebecca? We just don't know. Jake kind of gives me that impression that he's willing to turn. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. You said, I read a few comments elsewhere that Rebecca's attorney Moore is related to Judge Moore. I don't know about that. No clue if it's valid. I heard about that, y'all. Unless you guys do a deep, family tree, this is where we have to be careful about the speculation. I don't know if they're related. They might be, but if they're related, then how does that impact the case overall? Let me know. You said it's not legal in the state of California for them to represent by some law firm. That's right, Lisa. Thank you. He's going to be blaming her for sure. Did you smash that like button? That's the question. He will throw her under the bus like he did the first baby's mama. Predictable, Abby. Predictable. Because he gives me that. Do you think it's kind of interesting that Jake got the female attorney? No. I would like to think that this is about skill set, but I do wonder. And like I said, man, they all deserve their day in court. As much as I'm like, what kind of a who just said it? Somebody said in the comments that I missed it, but somebody said, how can you represent the Haros? Everybody needs a defense attorney until you don't. So you, like, the way in which our system is set up, we definitely need everybody needs representation. One thing we don't want is we don't want there to be an appeal. So whatever representation they have, they better do it right? As much as I could care less about the Haros, and we already know how we feel about them. We don't want any appeals. We don't want any mistrials. We don't want any of that, right? At all. Okay. We all have the right to a fair trial. Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly right. Okay. Let's see. Lowe and Paulette Garthwaite are heading Jake Haro's defense team. Moore is representing Rebecca Haro. All 3 have at least 20 years of trial experience. Okay. So this is Riverside County Deputy Public Defender Paulette Garthwaite is a co-counsel in the defense of Jake Haro of Cabezon, who, along with his wife, Rebecca, is accused of killing their 7-month-old Emmanuel, their son, in August 2025. Okay, so this is the photo of the lady. Everyone involved is excellent. Graham Donat, president of the Riverside County Criminal Defense Bar Association, said Friday. Donat said he has known all 3 for years. Every person has handled very serious, high-profile cases, handled serious homicides. Lowell and supervising deputy public defender Brian Cosgrove supervised the complex litigation unit, which handles death penalty, homicide, gang, and most SA cases for the western region of the county. Allison and Paulette were selected due to their years of experience with these types of cases. So, years of experience with these types of cases. This is why they went with them. Okay. It's interesting. Any news on finding Emmanuel's body? There's been a lot of news out there, but they haven't. The district attorney's office, the sheriff's office haven't shared anything. So, and now if you're asking what other social media influencers are saying, they're saying different things, but yeah, nothing has been set in stone. Nothing, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's keep going. Assistant District Attorney Brandon Smith has tried almost every type of case, more than 100 in all. In his 20 plus years at the DA's office, said John Hall, a spokesman for DA Mike Hestron, those cases brought forth by the SA and Trials Abuse Gang and Homicide units. Smith supervises the Western region for Hestron. In the Turpin case, Facebook groups sprang up in which followers of the drama, including many people from the outside of the United States, freely offered opinion about the couple's culpability, David's haircut, and the children. Okay, so this reporter, again, he's the one that did the interview on Law and Crime, Brian Rocos. He's the one that everybody was calling in the chat Monopoly penny bags. What's his name? Brian Rose. See if I can bring up a picture. Y'all remember Mr. Pennybags? You guys were calling him Mr. Pennybags. I can't remember who said it, but somebody said he looked like the Monopoly Pennybags guy. I thought it was funny. Y'all are funny. It's this guy right here. Okay, this guy. Him. He's the one that wrote the article. He doesn't like social media. Mr. Milton, Mr. Pennybags Milton or whatever. Yeah, shout out to Belen. She's the one that keeps coming up with these names. So this guy does not like social media influencers. I mean, he's said it before, so that's what he's writing in his article, which, he's in his every right to say and have his opinion about it. But he says right here that in this Turpin case, Facebook groups sprang up in which followers of the drama, including many people from outside the United States, freely offered opinions about the couple's culpability, David's haircut, and the children. But amateur sleuths, armed with cell phone cameras, TikTok accounts, and a love of juicy rumors, with little appetite to confirm, have taken the social media interest in the Haros and little Emmanuel to an exponentially higher level. Other posts hurl venom at the Haros. That, Donat said, will make jury selection problematic for the defense attorneys and the prosecution should the case reach that stage. I do think that if they do plead not guilty, which is exactly what I think is we're going to find out, okay? They have not been offered a plea deal according to the DA. Okay? So if they do plead guilty, or excuse me, not guilty, they're going to have a hard time going to trial in that area. Okay? They really are. So it does kind of make you wonder. Imagine an attorney listening to this channel that represents him and accidentally calling him pennybags in the court. I would respect that none of these attorneys are listening to my commentary. I don't think that they are. Respect. I don't think that they are, okay? Mr. Pennybags, and that Mr. Pennybags was the journalist, okay? Listen. I'm just going to say that. Wouldn't have it if they gave us a damn facts about the baby, says. Well, I think that they're allowed to lie to us and they won't tell us anything. I mean, how dare society have an opinion? That would be hilarious, though. Let's be honest. Sometimes the true crime community can be toxic and problematic to these cases. You don't need to look far to see good examples. Very true. Very true. Okay, let's keep going. It further goes. To some degree, it's difficult finding jurors who don't already have preconceived notions. Donat said all sides have to account for that. There is already a public consensus that have reached anger towards the defendants without knowing the actual facts. Okay, he published this on the 29th. Okay, and he says a previous version of the story incorrectly stated the first name Graham Donat, so there was an error at the initial publication. Let's see. What do y'all think? So that was the news about the lawyers. Okay. I think that everybody needs a defense. And I think that's important. I think everybody deserves a defense. Should have a defense, right? But let me know. Stop making my spine spiny. You only have to look at those idiots who cover the Summer Wells case and how bad they were. There's that. Like I said, I think you can have your opinion, but there's something to be said about, like, for me personally, I think that if you're out there, there's a bit of frustration, you guys, because it's like we want law enforcement to pay attention to these cases, right? But law enforcement has already failed Emmanuel Haro, not only Emmanuel Haro, but the other children too, right? Let's be very clear. And I said I'm gonna repeat myself over and over again. Okay. The fact that they did this press conference, and yes, they're upset and they're angry, and they have their every right to be angry and upset with social media influencers and stuff like that. But I think it's really displays anger and passing the buck. Well, it was a judge back in a couple years ago that did this. It was? Okay. So why didn't you guys appeal the judge's decision? Okay, that to let Jake Haro have a slap on the wrist. There's one. Why in 2024, when he you know, messed up his probation by having a weapon, why didn't you guys go back and revoke his probation and send his ass to prison? He wouldn't have even had contact with Emmanuel, because Emmanuel was supposedly only 7 months. Like, we could sit here and blame social media and everything, but I also feel like it's a tactic of not really looking at the bigger picture. They don't like this pressure, you guys, and that's fine. I don't want to be in a crime scene. I don't want to be, messing up a crime scene or anything like that. But the people that are out there that are seeking social media people to expose this, and let's be very clear, if it wasn't for Abby Blabby, she's on the screen right now. If it wasn't for the fact that she had contact with a family member about past abuse, do you think the DA would have said anything? No, he had to. He's not thinking like, yeah, this creator or these social media influencers, they exposed this past abuse. They messed up. And what do? They went out here and they want to blame everybody. I get it. But I also think that you got to take a little bit of accountability, because when you work for the system, when one person messes up, everybody messes up. You don't get to pass the buck to figure out, oh, we could blame this person and this person. You don't get to do that. And that's the piece that really gets to me. There's too much passing the buck in every sides of a political spectrum, to this leadership, to all this stuff. Thank you. And let's be very clear. They only did this press conference because the Haros beat the police to it. They had to do it, not out of the kindness of their heart, not because they care about the community, no, they were very clear. They had to do it. Now, I don't want to feed into any misinformation. I may have my opinions, but my opinions aren't facts, right? But I'm not going out there with an opinion to go sway or to go attack. Don't harass, don't contact. Y'all don't see me doing that. Okay? Let me be very clear. We're giving commentary on this situation. That's all. And anything, when I pull a lawsuit from a political person or a leader or whatever, it's that. It's just a lawsuit. Misinformation can be corrected. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. Let's get into this. So this was kind of like breaking news yesterday. This dropped yesterday. Abusive home. Terrifying new details about devil dad Jake Haro, whose abuse left daughter disabled, are revealed by ex-mom-in-law. Ex-mom-in-law would be, so if we're talking about the second marriage that Jake Haro had. He was married to Vanessa Avina, right? So this would be Vanessa's mom who's speaking out. The U.S. Sun spoke to Margarita Avina, whose daughter was previously married to the accused killer. Okay. A father, and this is the first time I'm reading this. I heard that this broke yesterday. First time I'm reading this, so I'm reacting to it with you guys. I wanted to save it. A father accused of murdering his 7-month-old son has been branded the devil by his former mother-in-law after he left his older daughter with brain damage years before. Jake Haro, 32, and his wife Rebecca, 41, have denied killing Kane, their son, Emmanuel, who went missing earlier this month in what they initially said was an abduction. Okay, these are the mugs. So then we get this picture of this woman right here who's crying. Margarita Avina, the mother of Vanessa Avina, whose child was left severely disabled after an incident with ex-husband Jake Haro in 2018. So she's crying. The lady is really, really upset. Okay. They told police he was kidnapped from California parking lot. They told police he was kidnapped from a California parking lot while Rebecca was changing his diaper and joined the search before their arrest days later. The Riverside County District Attorney's Office claimed Emmanuel died from child abuse, but his remains have not been located. Okay. It recently emerged that the dad had a 2023 felony conviction for child cruelty. Okay. Okay. Now, it's funny that they say it recently emerged. No, this was exposed, stemming from an arrest in Hemet, California, while he was married to his ex wife, Vanessa Avino. And to be very clear, they were both charged. It wasn't just Jake, she was charged as well. Okay. So this is interesting. Let's see. On October 13, 2018, their 10-week-old daughter was admitted to the hospital, and doctors told police that the little girl had an acute rib fracture, six ribs with healing fractures, a skull fracture, brain hemorrhage, swelling of the neck, and a fractured leg bone that was healing. An officer wrote in the affidavit for a warrant that findings were indicative of abuse, head trauma, physical child abuse, and nutritional neglect. Jake reportedly blamed the baby's bruises on Rebecca. We read that 2018, arrest affidavit. Both eventually pled guilty to the charges in 2023, but escaped jail. Following his arrest, Vanessa's mother, Margarita Avina, gave an emotional interview to the U.S. Sun about her granddaughter's terrifying ordeal. Oh, this is going to make me mad. I knew he would do it. So I knew he would do something like this again. Jake Haro's former mother-in-law claims. They blame my daughter, but Jake is the devil, Margarita claimed as she broke down in tears. And he gets away with murmur. He got away with what he did to my granddaughter. Okay. Let me stop right here, man, because this let me tell you what makes me mad about this. Miss Margarita Avina. I'm sure that a lot of this is very emotional and all of this, but ma'am, your daughter, what was your daughter in addiction? What was your daughter doing around this time? Where were you around this time? Because how does somebody abuse a 10-week-old baby? Okay. And your statement is they blame my daughter, but he's the devil. So now we're blaming him, but they were both in this household. And this is not the only child. They also had the oldest one, right? It's crazy to me. But yes, let me continue. It says they blame my daughter, but Jake is the devil, Margarita claims as she broke down in tears. And he gets away with murmur. He got away with what he did to my granddaughter. The little girl, now a 7-year-old, was adopted by Vanessa's cousin along with another son. Riverside District Attorney Michael Hestrin told a press conference earlier this week that the poor 7-year-old is permanently bedridden and has cerebral palsy as a result of long-term child abuse. I don't think that's what he said, but okay. Margarita said, I always wanted justice. I leave it to God. I think this is justice, but this didn't have to happen to baby Emmanuel. I knew he would do something like this again. This poor baby, it's been traumatizing, but I knew he would do it. Look what he did to my granddaughter. I hope he pays. He has destroyed lives. Although Vanessa eventually pled guilty, her mother claims that she was abused by Jake and would never have harmed their children or their child, insisting she wasn't in her right mind. My daughter is nothing compared to what they are saying, she said. It's very, very upsetting. It hurts. Okay. This Jake arrest brings back everything that happened. I can't even sleep. I don't think my daughter was all there. He wouldn't tell her that nobody loved her. He wouldn't tell her that nobody, excuse me, he would tell her that nobody loved her. She was abused. I would grab her and say, "You need to leave. You need to do something." She could never do anything. My daughter would never touch her kids. She has another kid. You would see how she is with this kid. If the baby even has a scratch, my daughter is still going through this, not having her children. She wanted her kids. Vanessa, through her mother, has declined to comment on the case and has allegedly hired a lawyer as she speaks to police about her experience with her ex. A warrant from 2018 incident alleges Vanessa had left her home to drop another child to school and return 40 minutes later. Interesting. Jake claimed that the baby had a fever and that he gave her Tylenol, after which he put her down. Okay. Mind you, she was drinking while she was pregnant. Okay. She was drinking while she was pregnant. So now we can't. Let's keep reading. Yeah, let's not. Let me put you on timeout. Okay, she could have changed her name. Again, we're not gonna be doxing her. Thank you. Um, yeah, according to her, at least. Crazy. Hmm? Okay, let's keep going. The document claims that Jake eventually admitted to Vanessa that he had dropped the child in the sink and her chest hit the center divider of the dual basin, but she never showed any signs of injury. They allegedly went to bed hours later, but Vanessa then woke him up in the middle of the night, claiming something was wrong with the baby. Margarita alleged that Jake only told Vanessa he dropped the baby after she woke him up. I got a call at 5 o'clock in the morning. She says, "Mom, I'm in the hospital. The baby doesn't want to feed." She was breastfeeding. She said Jake didn't want me to bring the baby. I think the baby was convulsing, like seizing. It's like a seizure. And that's when she called me. Like, she's like, "Mom, you need to come and take care of my kids. It's bad. Mom, just come." I go over there. She called me again and said Jake had admitted to dropping the baby. I'm like, "What? Why didn't he tell you that from the beginning?" Jake switched and threatened her and said, "I'm going to make sure they take your kids away and you die in jail." When they went to the hospital in Hemet, the doctor said the baby had fractured bones. They took her to another hospital and I guess used fluorescent lights and saw marks on her neck and stuff. He shook the baby. When my daughter found all that out, she was like, "What did you do to my baby? What did you do?" She'd taken the baby to the doctor before because there were brown patches underneath her eyes. She didn't know what was wrong with her, but they said everything was fine. There was nothing wrong with her. Margarita claims that she tried to get the previous medical records for the child for her court case, but could not obtain them. The grandmother alleges Vanessa lived with her until she fell pregnant and with her and Jake's first child. She was unaware for months that they were secretly married. Okay, how come Vanessa's not talking about the fact that she was drinking while pregnant? She said, "I couldn't talk to her. I couldn't see her. He isolated her from the family. He didn't want to work. He didn't want her to work. She used to work in Walmart at the Vision Center. She was a good worker and met her there. Sometimes I would go and visit her. She wouldn't even open the door. So I didn't know if she was bruised, beaten up. I would try to take food and she would make excuses that they weren't home. Sometimes I blamed myself," she says. Okay. Margarita claims that her daughter's story was never believed, and she eventually pled guilty and served community service and had to attend child endangerment classes. I don't trust any of them. I don't. I don't trust any of them at all. But let me keep going. Margarita claims that her daughter was never believed, and she eventually pled guilty and served community service and had to attend child engagement. I think it meant to say endangerment classes, but they said engagement classes. The grandmother said they were allowed visits to the children for a while, but they fell out with the cousin who adopted them and been have not been for 2 years. Oh, so grandma fell out with the cousin who adopted the children. Y'all, look at this. They fell out. Okay. Margarita claims that she was desperate to adopt them and bought a bigger house, thinking that she would get them back. She said, "We miss the children. My daughter is missing her kids." Margarita saw the interview of Jake appearing distressed on TV with his new wife, Rebecca, after their son went missing, but she says she didn't believe their story or fake tears. She said, "I saw all of that. I knew he was lying. He's a liar and a manipulator. This opened old wounds. To me, I wouldn't want him to be sentenced, excuse me. To me, I wouldn't want him to be sentenced to death. That's an easy way out. I want him to go to prison for the rest of his life." Jake and Rebecca are each charged with felony murder and malice, along with additional misdemeanor charges of making a false police report. They remain in custody on a $1 million bail and have denied Kane, their son, through jail interviews. Their official arraignment is September 4th at 8:30 a.m., which y'all know we will be live for, but I also have another hearing on that day, believe it or not. For those that are following the Alexi Treviso, she has a hearing on that date. Margarita says Vanessa, who also has an older child from a previous relationship along with their baby, struggles to get her life back on track, but is now doing well. Okay, hold up, Margarita. Margarita says Vanessa, who also has an older child from a previous relationship along with her new baby, struggled to get her life back, but now is doing well. Okay. Okay, hold on. Hold on. She says, "I talk to my daughter every day to see how she's doing." She says, "She's got her own place and everything. She works again and has a new partner, her baby daddy, but she doesn't let anyone be with her kids." So this is Margarita Vina. Jake Haro's former mother-in-law was distraught over the situation. So I'm just wondering, like, I don't know, man. And that is the end of that article. "I talk to my daughter every day just to see how she's doing." What do y'all think? I have a lot of opinions about it. I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, I would agree. She has a new baby. It's crazy. If she's doing well, she's doing right by the family. That's fine with me. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Thank you. I think that she is in denial. Probably a lot of enabling. I think Mama Margarita did a lot of enabling of her daughter. Okay, some of these grandparents need to step out and say something or do something. Don't come back crying after the facts when they really know what's going on. I do wonder. And you know what? If for all we know, the cousin who adopted her grandchildren, she's probably being protective. I've seen that happen so many times where they're like when there's a family adoption within the family because somebody fell out or somebody did something to those children, they have to like completely sever ties from that family, whether it's the grandma, the mom, or the father, because of the fact that they have to be protective of those children. They have to be protective. They can't be having you say things about their parents or anything like that. Nothing. They have to be protective. So that distance, I think, is a way of protecting. She's like, "Well, we fell out, and I haven't talked to those kids in 2 years." I think she's being protective. I've seen it happen way too many times. Yes, reality is difficult for some people, but these people all need a huge dose of it. Take responsibility for your actions. And she's like, grandma, or at least, again, she's no longer grandma. I mean, she's grandma, but honestly, like, if they were adopted, their names were changed. Let me tell you, those children's names were changed. You know why? Because they wanted to cut ties with that aspect of that life, of that abuse. Okay. So sometimes it's like Yeah, like that is the best way. It might hurt you, but the best way is to isolate from that family, because I don't want Margarita around the children talking about your mom still loves you, your mom this and your mom that, when it's like we don't know. We don't know anything, right? And that's a hard step to take. JT, thank you so much for this 4.99. Love you, Rabbit. Gracias por todo. No, thank you, man. Thank you. Yes, it's easier. I 1000% agree. And thank you, JT, for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. It's easier to cut ties to protect the children. Absolutely. Sometimes it's I've seen it happen to way too many times where it's like the person that is the doing the arrangement for the adoptions, this is heavy on them, okay? Because if that was a cousin that she grew up with, think about it. There's just a lot that goes into this. I'm adopting her children. Well, you know what? I got to take care of her children. She's not, I'm telling you right now, Vanessa Avina is not paying any kind of support if this is a legal adoption. Her rights were terminated, right? So she's not even supporting these kids. Okay? She's not. Neither is the grandmother. There's nothing. And think about the amount of money and support that it takes to take care of Promise Faith. Okay? Think about that. That's money right there that goes into take, like this 7-year-old can't is not self-sufficient. She can't take care. She needs somebody there. So if all you're doing is bringing in Vanessa Avina to see the child that she lost her rights to, what is that doing emotionally? What is that doing for everybody? Vanessa didn't protect her children. It sounds like she also participated in the abuse, because don't forget that the oldest child was also FAS, fetal alcohol syndrome. She was drinking while she was pregnant. These kids are so like there's a blessing when the adoption occurs within the family. When a family member steps up and says, I'm not going to let, because anything could have happened to Promise Faith. Somebody could have taken her and just saw her as a paycheck. You know what I mean? And just be like, well, I'm getting paid to take care of this baby, so I'm just going to do that. No. Not only did she adopt Promise Faith, but she also adopted the oldest one, who she changed the last name to. So, yes, like it's sad to see grandma really upset crying there, but with her saying that the oldest cousin cut her off, it's for a reason, y'all. It's for a reason. Absolutely. I still think Jake is totally abusive to women and children. Absolutely. I agree. But she stayed there, right? There's a lot to say. Like, she might have been a victim. I don't take that away from her at all. But let me tell you, there's a lot of women out there, men and women, that stay in these relationships, but they will prioritize their kids. She did not. And it sounds like she was also in substance, heavily in substance, which then makes me wonder, was Rebecca and Jake in that same dynamic where they didn't care about taking care of their kids, but they were more in heavy substance? It's been speculated that they were heavily in drugs. It is common with DV to seclude your victim and their friends and family. And let's be real, there is nothing a grandmother can do about it. What about after the fact? Sometimes that's true, right? Where a victim gets isolated. I see that side too. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I think that the reason why she feels Miss Margarita Avina feels inclined to speak on this is because people have been reaching out to her. So she's upset and she's like, "Oh, this is playing out again. It's like my life again in 2018." Okay? Rebecca, let's talk about timeline. In 2023, he pled guilty to the 2018 charges, right? He made all the pleas that he did, whatever it was, the probation that he was given, okay? He did that. He did that. She was with them in 2023 if they've been married for what, 3 years? They have one child together, and then they had Emmanuel Haro. In 2024, he picked up the weapons charge. What happened there? Let me tell y'all something. I tried to FOIA that report. I can't get that report anymore. So to me, that tells me my speculation is that, yeah, they also took the 2-year-old. That's right. My speculation is this. My speculation is that that 2024 weapons charge, I do wonder if it had to do with any kind of DV with Rebecca. Why would he have a weapons charge? Okay. She was aware. She said it in the interview. She said it in the interview. She said that she was aware of these allegations from before. She said, "I believe he's a good father." So what is so nobody's at fault? Everybody's at fault? She's saying here that Margarita Vina saying that her daughter got blamed for this. Could very well be the case. Could very well be that she was a victim of it, but she also got charged. We can't pull that. I need to pull, like, I need to go back into the trial. I'm going to try to get those transcripts of Vanessa Avina and figure out, and we're going to deep dive this whole situation, because honestly it seems like there's just so much that's being unsaid, and then we're left with like, oh my god. But you guys, this is like, I promise you that this is, unfortunately, this is a normal for some folks. You know what I mean? You said, I read that the 2-year-old is now in the cousin's home and her siblings. Yes, we just said that. She didn't stop him. No. You said my ex got charged with holding a pew pew to my hand and asked if I was ready to leave. Whew, I'm so sorry. If grandma was isolated from her daughter and grandchildren, then she likely had no idea of the abuse. Could very well, it could have been the case. Absolutely. Could have very well been the case. Not disputing that. We don't know. We don't know. But what I do know is that they were both charged. You said, just got here. This case interests me because of the babies. 2 babies left for dead that one knew about and watched her own baby get abused. I want everyone arrested. Well, I'm sure that there's more to this. Is it true that the DA charged Jake under a different penal code that would not have allowed possibilities for probation instead of the charge visiting judge gave? Palabra. This is a great question. Now, that takes me to the next part where we're about to transition this. This came out, and I saw this too, Palabra. Thank you for this. Okay. This is look at the title of this, y'all. Okay. Judge isn't to blame for Jake Haro's light sentence. XDA Elizabeth Vargas reports. All right. Let's get into this.
Haro is maintaining the couple's innocence in this new jailhouse interview. He denies claims of authorities who say that the baby had been abused by his parents throughout his 7-month-old life. Authorities say the baby then allegedly died of those injuries. Jake claims he's been cooperating with investigators, but Haro's cooperation is proving as frustrating as his wife's original story to police. Remember, she claimed a stranger assaulted her in a parking lot and then abducted the baby. Jake has assisted in the search for the missing baby boy. You can see him on the screen there in the orange prison jumpsuit out in that dusty terrain. But that search.
It's crazy that this was literally, I think this was a week ago, guys. Is it Sunday? Yeah, it's Sunday. Was this on, I think this is the 24th. This was literally a week ago that we saw this.
Of that field turned up no evidence that the baby was ever there. Authorities now say, however, that they have, quote, a strong indication of where the little boy's body is. Meanwhile, outrage is growing over another case involving Jake Haro from 2 years ago and another baby of his, a baby girl who authorities say is permanently disabled by Jake's violent acts. Jake pleaded guilty to child abuse in that case, but despite the hideous injuries the 10-week-old baby girl suffered, he never served any time in prison. The district attorney says that if the judge had put him behind bars, baby Emmanuel would still be alive today. Joining us now is Kim Dagonia, former assistant district attorney from Riverside County, California. Thanks so much for joining us.
I'm pretty sure that this is the same DA that did the interview with Brian Enton, okay? So this is the same DA who's giving commentary about this. So San Bernardino, Chad Bianco, aka Yosemite Sam, Mike Hestrin, peep this. This is your former colleague who's saying this to the major media outlets. So do they have their does she have your blessing? I mean, I'm just wondering, because you coming out here to the social media people, look what she's putting out, okay?
Yes. So the current DA, Mike Hestrin, had really harsh words for the judge in that previous Jake Haro case. Hestrin said it was, quote, an outrageous error in judgment and that a baby is now dead because of it.
He did, and I think Sheriff Chad Bianco said it best when he started the news conference and indicated that there were several opportunities and several people to blame for why baby Haro is no longer with us
Yeah.
and why Jake Haro is not in custody.
Like, I would have blamed his probation for not, like, it took a year because he's literally has a hearing for the 2024 charge in September. Like, I would also blame the probation. He should have been revoked, but okay.
The reality is that had the Riverside County District Attorney's Office charged that actual complaint properly, we wouldn't be here. Jake would not have been able to even conceive Emmanuel Haro because he did not charge what is the most basic charge, which is the assault with a child under the age of 8 causing paralysis.
Yeah, he was charged with child cruelty. I mean, we've got the current DA blaming the judge in the case, and you're saying actually it was the former DA's mistake?
So you pay attention, okay? Because I want to make sure that people are paying attention who they're passing the buck to. Again, did a social media keyboard warrior go up here and say this? No. This is a former DA from that office who's saying that, okay?
Correct. If the former DA would have filed the charges correctly, that would have tied the judge's hands. He would have been unable to sentence Jake Haro to probation. He would have had to have sentenced Jake Haro to life with the possibility of parole. The judge would not have been able to sentence him to probation. The charges were simply pled improperly. They were too low.
So what about what Jake Haro was saying? It's unbelievable he's giving interviews from jail. Is he admitting that his baby is dead now or not?
I mean, it seems to be that way. You know, he's taken the police on this wild goose chase to an alleged crime scene. That in of itself would suggest that he's admitting the baby is gone.
Yes, that's correct. Not so now they're saying it wasn't Moore. Dwight Moore. Do you see what I'm saying? So who's like, I want people to pay attention. It's like this is a former DA that's talking to a legacy media outlet who's putting this out here, okay? Let's not get confused.
These statements now, I think, is further just incriminating him, and people can read between the lines that he is telling us that baby Emmanuel is gone.
Authorities say they have a good idea of where the baby's body is. They believe that he had suffered abuse throughout his 7-month-old life, which is horrific to even think about. What do you think makes them think that? Do they have evidence?
You know, Elizabeth, I'm sure they do. I'm sure Mike Hestron is very detailed when he does backgrounds, when he does investigations. I'm sure they did search warrants onto into Emmanuel's pediatrician. But the reality is, common sense tells us
Emmanuel's pediatrician. Okay, so here's the question: this lady who worked at that office, she might have some connections. I don't know. Was there a pediatrician? Some people have speculated that this baby doesn't even have a birth certificate. I don't know if that's true. People, I'm telling you, I've got people in my email who say this baby didn't have a birth certificate. How do we know that? They went to a pediatrician. I mean, a pediatrician is not going to ask for a birth certificate, but I'm assuming that that's part of like how, I mean, at least in my state, that's how it works. You know, you get your little birth certificate, your county records, you have to mail it in and then bring it back. And then there's like vaccines that go along with this if you're vaccinating your child, which, by the way, it sounds like Jake Haro was for vaccination because he talked about in his excuse that the hospital ran out of vaccination. So it wasn't like there's something going on here, right? I do wonder. And James just gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, James. If you guys have been blessed by any people in the chat, by a gifters, put some hearts and confettis in the chat. Thank you guys for supporting this channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. It means a lot. Pediatrician needs a DOB. There you go. I'm not an expert in that, but you know, yeah, can you be born here and not be issued a birth certificate? Well, Vic, I think nowadays there's a little bit of leniency with birth certificates. Like, I think you can, and maybe it's more in the celebrity realm where it's like you can, like, you don't have to put a name on a birth certificate. You don't have to do anything on a birth certificate, something to that effect. So as long it's like you do it at a certain time frame, it may not be right away. It's kind of a weird thing. It's both the DA and the judge. Even if the judge had given him time for the lesser charge, Emmanuel would have been spared. But here's fits and giggles. If the DA who did not want Jake to be sentenced the way that he was, why didn't he appeal the judge? Why did it only go as far as there? I mean, hello, DA, you can, like, can't you fight what a judge is saying and take it to, like, the appeals court or anything like that? It's crazy, but yeah. Anyways, let me keep playing this.
He injured a 10-week-old baby a few years ago. Horrific injuries, which indicate that he squeezed the baby, he shook the baby, he probably hit the baby with something. I mean, those are really traumatic injuries.
Yeah, let's just remind our audience, broken ribs on that 10-week-old baby girl, a fractured skull on that 10-week-old baby girl, brain swelling, a fractured leg. Kim, it's almost unbelievable to consider what you'd have to do to that tiny infant for her to suffer injuries like that. She's permanently disabled.
That's exactly right. She's permanently disabled. So we can look at Jake Haro's history of how he treats his children. And it's not a far leap to suggest that likely Emmanuel Haro is being abused in the same manner, because his life was.
And how is it Emmanuel can't speak? Emmanuel wasn't verbal enough to, even, and I could say that with certainty because of his time frame of his life. So yeah, a 10-week-old baby, all of what 10-week-old baby can do is cry and cry because it's in pain. Like, that's all the baby can do. And here's the deal. If Vanessa Avina was breastfeeding this baby, okay, the baby had, this 10-week-old baby had fractures that were healing, bones that were healing. You mean to tell me that the baby was only fussy that one time and it wasn't fussy before that? You mean to tell me that you took the baby to the doctor and were reporting that there was some brownish under her eyes, but you didn't notice anything else? Like, let me tell you something, man. I'm not taking my baby to a pediatrician if I'm trying to breastfeed her. It cannot, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Even what Margarita Avina is saying, the excuses that she's making for her daughter. She tried to breastfeed her, and there was this one time that he threw her down the sink when this child, 10-week-old child, had a multitude of healing fractions and current fractions. Like, fractions. Fractures. Thank you. Can't even say the right word. Not fractions, fractures. Healing fractures. It doesn't make sense. So Margarita Avina, I think, is also making excuses for her daughter. Just saying.
Ultimately taken.
Yeah, this is a terrible, terrible case. But obviously, we will continue to follow it as the authorities search not just for the baby's body, but for answers. This is really, a lot of people are paying very close attention to this. Kim Degonia, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app.
Chris Cuomo. I mean, what do y'all think? It doesn't make sense, man. None of it makes sense whatsoever. I'm not buying the story at all. At all. That's what I have to say about that. You said, unfortunately, I've experienced in this area. My nephew was ended by his father when he was 2.5 months old. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. He threw the baby across the room, and that's how they got those injuries. K Smith, I am so sorry about that. But that's the reality. That's why I'm like, I struggle with lady right here. I really do. And like I said, I know I'm being very harsh, but it's like her defending her daughter when it's like, I'm sure it didn't go down like that, girl. I'm sure she was abused. But if she was breastfeeding, when you're breastfeeding a baby, and I breastfed my children too, you could feel it. You could feel it when their stomach is upset. You can feel it when there's something going on. You could feel, like, when your baby's got a fever, you could feel it. And some of this is like healing bones and stuff like that. I don't know. And it's the same with the DA. All these people are doing is that they're passing the buck, okay? They're passing the buck between the DA's office. Well, it wasn't really the ex-judge's fault. Why is this former DA from that office saying that now? None of this is making sense. At the end of the day, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that people are doing this. But I mean, if anything, there needs to be more laws about this. There should be. The fact that there isn't, the fact that we just be playing with people's lives, children's lives. Let me show you guys something that I came across. I don't know if I saved it. Did I save it? Damn, I hope that I did save it. Hold up. I might have not saved it. Yeah, there's different rumors about what's the word? There's different rumors about possible sightings and stuff like that. At this point, I'm like, I don't know anything. I know I saw Ahmed on the Tira. Let me see. What did he say? He said he had an exclusive or something like that. Let's see. On the Tira. Give me 1 second. He did say something to that effect. Hold up. I'm going to try to find it. There was something that was being said on the Tira 20 hours ago. Was it 20 hours ago? Here it is. Nothing. Nothing's but he posted something. Anyways, let me see if I can find it on TikTok real quick while we're here. Make sure you guys follow us on TikTok as well. Hold up.
The problems that we have today are very similar, but the substances were very different.
What is
in
this
those
about?
days, you can remember that in South Central Los Angeles, it's just a very, very addicting substance at the time. And so now,
hold up, let me go right here. Is this it?
Hey guys, in the middle of my vacay, I want to do a testimony for.
Okay.
Just wow.
I think he's on his vacay right now. Anyways, he did drop something earlier, and I saw it, and I didn't save it. I should have. But anyways, he did drop something earlier about he got a tip or something like that. I don't know. I guess we'll see what he has. He said, "Who did they take the baby from?" That's the question. That baby was not abducted at all. The baby was not abducted. If he was drinking and doing drugs and breastfeeding, that baby was too. Maybe that's why baby E's eyes was getting worse. That could very well be the case. Anything if a mama's doing something and she's breastfeeding, that's the question that I had. Was she? And I don't think that was ever answered. Was Rebecca breastfeeding Emmanuel? That's the question. You said baby E colic, possible that could have been rugging him. It's a lot of sad speculation that can go on this. A lot of it. Baby E's eyes were awful. Head injury. Even if the phone had an appointment and my doctor's, I don't know, man. And like I said, we're gonna keep. Okay, honey, we're gonna keep reviewing this and figuring out what. But like I said, there's more information keeps coming about. Little by little, things are being revealed. Nothing. I guess we'll find out more on September 4th. You guys know we're going to be live on that. I'm also going to be trying to figure out what information I can get on the Alexi Treviso case, which is another horrible situation of a baby. But yes, what is he supposed to be, the chaplain of the California? I don't understand. So the more you look at the pictures of Emmanuel, the more bruises and signs that you notice of abuse. Yeah. Something was up with that baby. Something was up. We don't know. And if Rebecca Haro, I do wonder if they did any kind of like blood testing of rugs or hair follicles or anything like that to figure out what was going on. But there is a lot that y'all, like, this is just so sad, man. It's a sad case overall. And are we ever really going to get the answers that we're looking for? I don't know. Are people, I personally feel like it would be great to have these officials stop passing the buck. Like, they keep passing the buck. That's what's so frustrating. It wasn't this judges, it was that judges, it was this, and then here comes grandmother also doing it. Like, it's just crazy to me. Why are we doing that? You know, it's just crazy. At the end of the day, like, I just want to know what evidence they have. I'm all for waiting and not putting out misinformation or anything like that. I have a lot of speculations, but yeah, this is the thing that they kept saying that the landfills that people were getting, what's the word, that people have been contacted on the landfill about baby Emmanuel and stuff like that, but we don't even know. Hold up, let me see if I can pull. Was this 2 days ago?
Haro residents. You can see here the people still at the memorial the train has entered the chat. We're going to tell you fine folks at home the entire story about Ramona Street, 5008 on the Tira.
This is the area.
Jake, Emmanuel, and Rebecca Haro lived here in that house where the American flag was at. Jake used to live in this house a few years back. Probably when he got with Rebecca, he ended up moving into the main house, and the mom with her stepfather moved into this house, and that's the shed right there. People on this quiet community here have noticed the difference on the Tira. Little Emmanuel was never seen, ever on the Tira. Residents on the block say they didn't even know that he was born.
Y'all hear that? Somebody knew that he existed. Somebody knew. I mean, when people have messaged me about the birth certificate, there no birth. Listen, somebody knew that this baby existed. Now, was there a birth certificate? I don't know.
These neighbors here tied into those neighbors there. The house that caught on fire, very suspicious and very, very peculiar indeed. Now, does it tie into Emmanuel somehow? Because people were saying that there was clothes in the dumpster, que no sé qué. Those stories cannot be confirmed. The stroller has entered the chat. Originally, the stroller was there where the American flag is at, behind the Tira, homie.
What did they say to him? Did they say that there were? I think law enforcement might have contacted the landfill, but we don't know. Did you see the video of Rebecca going to the pawn shop to get cash for coins? No, I didn't see that. I heard that there was new video. Not every question will be answered, in my opinion. Like they did cope with a screaming baby, broken bones. Did they give sedatives to the baby? Let me tell you, I think that Jake Haro injured this baby, and because he knew that he would be in trouble, he didn't want to go back to prison, right? So what does he do? Get rid of the baby. But this baby had been gone for a long time. Read what? What specifically, Dorothy? They stole that baby from someone and pointed it off of their own. That's what I get. How did they steal that baby from someone? Confused by that comment. That's why no birth was he. I don't know. People are saying that, but again, that's speculation. I don't think. I think he was. I think there is a birth certificate. My opinion. I don't know if I believe that there was no birth certificate. I just think that they just neglected this baby. He did receive. That's what I heard too. If they're talking about a pediatrician, y'all, like I even think that the DA mentioned that they're looking back. So somebody caught this. Somebody saw something. I highly doubt that this baby did not have a pediatrician at some point. Okay? Highly, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I could be wrong. Rebecca and Jake was a good dad and was good to her 16-year-old. Was there a 16-year-old in the house that can be interviewed? Yeah, I'm sure that that's what they said. That's what the speculation is. That's not facts. We don't know. People have speculated that. I don't believe that this child does not have a birth certificate. Missing children look at the missing and exploited children. There's a mother missing child in Los Angeles right around the same time. They are, what's the possibility of them looking into? I don't know. A social media influencer, Vic. I don't think that the baby ever seen by a doctor. I think that there might have been, but we don't know, man. We don't know. It's a lot of speculation out there. Rabbit, are there pictures of him with feeding tubes? Where did you see those pictures? Because I've never seen them. Again, guys, AI is on rampant when it comes to this whole thing. It really AI is crazy when it comes to this, y'all. So I don't know what to believe. Everything else is just speculation. So take everything with a grain of salt, you guys.
Neighbors throughout here are upset because these fools were tied into the fools that burned their house down. A lot of activity, all hours of the night. And so maybe this incident here disrupting other business here. And so you can understand now why people will get upset when you can no longer do what you want to do. But guess what? You know who doesn't get to do what they want to do? Emmanuel Haro. Dispensa on the tira. This is what the Bearcat would have seen as it drove here into this fence, and palo on the.
Now hold up. I know he's very animated. Let me stop right here. Let's be very clear. What did the DA say at the press conference? They're not offering any kind of plea deal or anything like that. So I do wonder, what is it that they have on them for that? Yes, I want to be very clear. Rabbit is discussing on various stories that are speculation being reported on social media. Unless it comes from law enforcement, take it with a grain of salt. Period. Take everything with a grain of salt. We're discussing various stories on law enforcement. What we can't say as fact is that grandmother was interviewed, right? We do know that. At least Vanessa Avina's mother was interviewed. What we can't say is that it sounds like there is an attorney for Rebecca and Jake Haro. Let me put my email up. Did I not? Here's my email if you want to email me. Whatever. Maybe there was a failure, but why no one is owning up? It's just my opinion. It's always passing the buck, man. You know what I mean? Always passing the buck. Just breathe. No. Has anybody seen a prego pic? Very few baby pics. I don't believe it's there. It's just my opinion. Oh Lord. We don't know. And all of that is speculation at this point. We have to be very careful with that. I wonder if there was any pictures of her pregnant. I don't know. I think Jake interfered with the 16-year-old. Well, how do we know this, Marshy? It's just an opinion. It's a lot, man. It's a lot of different things. We just don't know. We don't know. And like I said, all we can do is speculate when it comes to things like that, and we got to be very careful. Okay? That's all we can say. But I do wonder if I wonder if Margarita, is this the only interview? She gonna change her identity? People have said that Vanessa changed her identity as well. We don't know. Riverside County is approximately 7,300 square miles with only 600 CPS workers. Square mile of Los Angeles is 469 miles with 1,600 CPS workers. It is a big problem, says Steeler Princess. Thank you so much for this comment. I do want to tell you this, okay? Like I said, some folks were offended or upset with this video because they are voting for Chad Bianco. I don't give I'm going to repeat it again. I don't care who you vote for, okay? But I am going to report on lawsuits, and lawsuits are that allegations that have been made on people, whether it's your favorite celebrity, political leader, police leader, priest, nun, convent leader, whatever the hell. I'm going to report on it. This is a lawsuit that happened in 2025. And the allegations are very interesting. I will say that. Nothing wrong with reporting on a lawsuit. If you get hurt, I'm sorry. That's all I can say. Well, if it's not going to accept a plea deal, I don't even think it's been offered to them at all. I don't think so. I know. Imagine being angry over a video. Lord have mercy, James. Please say it out loud. There's also speculation that he impregnated the we don't know that, but we'll find out. I don't know what to think anymore. Many speculations. What I'm saying, it's kind of hard. And this is the part where we got to be very, very careful. It's too early for a plea deal, you think? Yeah. Please don't report me, says Wim. It's a man on the landfill talking to two guys. So did you send me that video? Let me see. I'm checking my email. I don't see it. Okay. Maybe let me check my junk. Yeah, I get too many. Lord have mercy. Oh man, I didn't realize how much I had on my junk mail. I gotta go through it. Okay, sorry about that. people are mad. That's insane. No, I know. I don't care. The sheriff only said nice things about the mainstream media to be their good graces. When he runs for office, it's all about optics and don't vote for Yosemite Sam Bianco. Y'all vote for whoever the hell you want to. But go watch that video. It's interesting. And people got mad at me. Did you find it? No, I didn't. I checked the email and I don't see nothing. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. I really do appreciate. Sorry for, first of all, I started late and I had to get off camera. I'll edit that if you're watching the replay just to get to right where I need to go. Thank you guys for those that supported the channel. Not Kim, K Smith, thank you for being a member for 3 months. Thank you. James, thank you. JT, thank you. Donna Smith, thank you. Beautiful Disaster, thank you. M Java Girl, thank you guys. Really do support everybody supporting the channel. Thank you. Or appreciate everybody supporting the channel. I'll see you guys later. Oh my God, Wim has been a member for 33 months. That's like forever, Wim. I'm going to be doing, I don't know where my book went. I got to find my book. But I'm going to be doing, I have a lot of questions about these lawyers that are representing the Haros. So I'm going to look into that a little bit deeper. There's another deep dives that I need to do that I have not been able to do or touch because I've been so knee deep in this situation. So be patient with me. But shout out to you guys. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be live later tonight, but if just have your notifications on. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Bye, guys.